All right, let's dive into this explainer and uncover the invisible systems behind a totally universal fast food experience. We move through our daily lives interacting with things that just seem incredibly simple on the surface. You pull up to a drive-thru, you order a meal, and you're handed a cold cup of soda. It feels completely mundane, right? But underneath that simple transaction, there's literally a vast, invisible architecture of chemistry, physics, and supply chain logistics at play. Today, we're basically transforming into food scientists to look at something you've probably experienced 100 times but never truly understood: the hidden, almost cinematic reality of a McDonald's Coke.
Because, let's be honest, you've definitely felt it before. You take that very first sip, and there's this distinctive crispness, a sharp, bubbly bite that just seems, well, better than when you drink it from a can at home or from any other restaurant. For years, people have debated whether this is just exceptional marketing, some trick of the mind, or pure nostalgia. But it turns out, it's not in your head at all. No way! It's actually the result of really strict, uncompromising scientific guidelines designed to engineer the absolute perfect beverage experience. So to understand how they actually pull this off, we have to peel back the layers of this everyday convenience.
Section 1. The steel supply chain and protecting the syrup.
So most fast food restaurants receive their soda syrup in standard plastic bags, which are just housed inside regular cardboard boxes. But the fundamental flaw with standard PET plastic is that it's actually slightly porous at a microscopic level. It slowly lets carbon dioxide escape, and honestly, even worse, it lets oxygen in. Over time, this subtly degrades the syrup. But McDonald's, they completely bypass this vulnerability. Their Coke syrup is delivered in heavy-duty stainless steel tanks. This steel fortress perfectly protects the syrup from light, temperature fluctuations, and any oxygen degradation.
And the impact of plastic is actually pretty staggering when you map it all out. Just look at this timeline. If you package soda in a standard PET plastic bottle, the loss of carbonation drastically limits its shelf life. I mean, a small 250 milliliter bottle will lose up to 15% of its carbonation in just 7 weeks. A 2-liter bottle hits that exact same loss in about 12 weeks. So while plastic pretty much guarantees a continuous, unavoidable gas leakage, McDonald's avoids this entirely. By using steel tanks to transport pure syrup and then carbonating the soda on site in real time, they make sure the product never just sits around slowly going flat on a shelf somewhere.
Moving on to Section 2, the chemistry of water, or as I like to call it, the perfect canvas. It is super easy to forget, but a Coca-Cola is basically 99.9% water. It's the canvas that the entire flavor profile is painted on. But as you probably know, tap water across the country is definitely not created equal. The water in New York tastes vastly different from the water in Florida or Wisconsin. This is mostly because of the chemicals used by cities to disinfect it, plus all the natural minerals just hanging out in the local supply. Simply put, if you use inconsistent low-quality water, you're going to get a low-quality, inconsistent Coke.
So to create that perfect universal blank canvas, McDonald's employs highly sophisticated filtration systems. They often use reverse osmosis or hollow fiber filtration to strip away almost everything from the local water supply. They're aggressively targeting 3 main culprits here. First up, they remove chlorine. Second, they eliminate water hardness by stripping out magnesium and calcium because those can actually alter the acidity of the drink. And third, they take out metal ions like iron, copper, and zinc, which are absolutely notorious for causing bitter, metallic off flavors and really weird color defects.
Now, the reason they really have to remove that chlorine is purely chemical. When chlorine interacts with the delicate flavor molecules of Coca-Cola syrup, it triggers a reaction that creates complex compounds called chlorophenols. If you have ever had a fountain soda that left this faint, kind of medicinal or disinfectant-like aftertaste in your mouth, yeah, you were tasting chlorophenols. By ruthlessly filtering the water, McDonald's prevents these reactions from ever happening, ensuring the flavor is identical and totally uncorrupted, no matter which restaurant you visit.
All right, Section 3. The science of carbonation and mastering the fizz.
This all comes down to the physics of carbonation, which is really just the process of forcing carbon dioxide gas into a liquid. But here's the thing. Gases don't just stay in liquids willingly. The ability of a beverage to actually hold on to that carbon dioxide changes drastically depending on its environment. And the single most important factor here? Temperature. McDonald's is literally obsessed with thermodynamics for a very specific reason. You see, the colder a liquid is, the higher its solubility for carbon dioxide, meaning freezing cold water can physically hold on to way more gas bubbles than warm water can. But there's a biological catch. Cold temperatures actually suppress the temperature-sensing nerves in your mouth, which reduces how much sweetness you perceive. So a warmer Coke will taste flat but overly sweet.
A freezing cold Coke, on the other hand, will hold a massive amount of bubbles, giving it that sharp, almost painful bite we all love, while perfectly balancing out the intense sweetness of the syrup. To maintain this super delicate balance, McDonald's basically built a custom cooling infrastructure. First, they pre-chill both the filtered water and the Coca-Cola syrup before they ever even mix. Then, this whole system is engineered to transport those pre-chilled liquids from the back room all the way to the front counter through heavily insulated tubes. This guarantees the temperature remains critically low right up to the literal second it hits your cup, maximizing the amount of CO2 the liquid can absorb right at the fountain tap.
Which brings us to Section 4, the final flavor delivery into the cup.
Now, fountain drinks are traditionally prepared by mixing the concentrated syrup with water. The industry standard ratio is usually 1 part syrup to roughly 5 parts water, though it can range anywhere between 3 and 6 parts. But if you've ever bought an iced coffee or a soda that tasted amazing on the first sip, only to taste like slightly sweet, dirty water 10 minutes later, well, then you know the fatal flaw of this ratio.
Ice melts. It's that simple. And McDonald's knows you're going to put ice in this highly engineered beverage, so they intentionally add slightly more syrup to their baseline ratio. They've actually calculated the exact dilution rate that's going to happen as the ice melts inside your cup. By over-indexing on the syrup right from the start, they ensure that as the ice inevitably turns to water, it brings the beverage right into the perfect intended flavor profile, rather than watering it down into a sad, diluted mess.
And the final mechanical step in this entire hidden system is actually the simplest of all, the straw. McDonald's officially states that their straw is slightly wider than a typical fast food straw. And this isn't an accident. A wider straw delivers a much larger volume of that sharply carbonated, perfectly chilled liquid directly to your palate. Those carbonated bubbles physically trigger pain receptors on your tongue, and the larger diameter of the straw just maximizes that bubbly, sharp bite that you just can't quite replicate out of a can or a narrow plastic bottle. So every single time you take a sip, you are benefiting from a massive global network of stainless steel supply chains, localized microscopic water filtration, precisely calculated thermodynamics, and specialized mechanical delivery tools. It really makes you wonder, if this much precision, this much invisible engineering goes into a simple $3 cup of soda, how many other everyday conveniences around us are secretly powered by vast, invisible systems that we never even notice? Keep looking closer at the world around you guys. The hidden architecture is absolutely everywhere. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I'll catch you in the next one.